Guys, I'm telling y'all, we're gonna talk about this Kong villain. We're gonna talk about the villains because apparently this is not Kong. This is not Kong. In my last video, I said this is probably just Kong, like just chilling in the hollow earth. But apparently, and I think I in the last video I thought this was Kong, but they just gave him his lightning powers this time because of the blue glowing eyes. The blue glowing eyes. But apparently this is not Kong. This is apparently some orangutan villain. And I'm saying this right now. This is not the villain. This is not the villain. Because first of all, he looks a lot. That explains the skinnier arms. Orangutan. He looks physically weaker than. In fact, let me pull up the trailer again. He looks a lot weaker than Kong.
We're not going to be able to fix this. No, nobody dies.
The Flash.
Like, hold on. His arms look skinnier than Kong. I guess, apparently this is supposed to be the threat that Godzilla and Kong are going to team up against. So, this is the threat. Apparently this isn't Kong. This is the villain that they've been hyping up the plot. I'm just saying this right now. This better not be the threat. I'm saying this right now. This is not the threat. This is not this guy could be a villain, but this is not the main villain. Yes, the plot did say that the villain is in the Hollow Earth, but come on, it's just cliched at this point. It's very obvious that an evil Kong. First of all, this Kong just existing in general just debunks Godzilla vs. Kong and Kong Skull Island. I think I said this in my last video, but this debunks Kong Skull Island. Kong is supposed to be the last of a species, so I'm trying to figure out how is there even. I mean, orangutans and gorillas are kind of the same species. They're both monkeys, but it's like, how is there even another Kong to begin with? Like, this has to be like an ancient. The only way I see this working is that this has to be an ancient Kong that no one knows about. This has to be an undiscovered Kong that no one knows about. And even then, it's like, this is a bit of a downgrade from Mechagodzilla. Like, you go from King Ghidorah to Mechagodzilla to this evil monkey guy. Apparently, this is supposed to be the biggest threat of the Monsterverse. Legendary, my guy, Adam Wingard, you had the biggest threat of the Monsterverse. Well, I mean, not necessarily Adam Wingard because he didn't direct King of the Monsters, but Legendary, you had the biggest threat of the Monsterverse, and you fucking killed them off. You killed them off. So, and now you're telling me that this monkey is supposed to be the. First of all, if Godzilla alone can defeat Kong, what makes you think that they're both gonna team up against another Kong? Like, wouldn't it make sense to have this? We're gonna talk. Like, wouldn't it make sense to have this guy be like a, what happens if this Kong was like a. I think I know what they're doing. They're combining two movies into one movie. Because I feel like what they were supposed to do was make a... What they were supposed to do is make a Kong sequel and then Godzilla 3 after Godzilla vs. Kong. I feel like what was supposed to happen is that this Kong would have been a Kong villain that Kong would have faced on its own. And the Godzilla flying creature that's apparently supposed to be showing up in this film could have been a villain that Godzilla faces in Godzilla 3. And then in Destroy All Monsters, or the Godzilla Kong team up movie, which is apparently this movie, they come back. Like, it's like, the yeah, and we're gonna talk about that Godzilla flying creature because for a while now, I thought that was the villain of this. It's like this is the Kong guy, the orangutan villain. He's not the villain. It's that Godzilla flying creature that's been leaked online lately. That's the villain. We're gonna talk about him. We're gonna talk about that too. This is not the only villain. In fact, the movie is called The New Empire. The movie is called The New Empire. God, I still get chills from this trailer. The movie itself is called The New Empire. Again, what does that mean? Is there like a huge threat of villains in this movie that we just don't know about, that humans didn't discover yet? And also, isn't King Ghidorah supposed to be the biggest threat? Like, how is this called The New Empire? Like, I feel like their motivations have to be what the fuck, Legendary? So there's an empire of villains in this movie. The Godzilla flying creature, this orangutan villain we get in this teaser, and there's probably even some not violence, but humans like create an accident like biological monster. Like, I feel like it's gonna take more than just Godzilla and Kong to take down these villains. Like, I feel like we need to have the entire Titans, like all the Titans that are still alive in the MonsterVerse. Like, just have them team up with Godzilla and Kong, and of course you have to have the humans. Of course you gotta have the humans somehow, and the humans, and fucking bring back Rodan. This is the perfect movie. Fucking bring back Rodan. Have them team up against these creatures. Like, if I'm being honest with you, the final battle, like, I think the final battle is probably gonna be like some civil war, like a destroy all monsters type of thing, where it's just like a side of good monsters and a side of bad monsters, and the humans are gonna team up with the good side of monsters because they just know them at this point. Like, at this point in the MonsterVerse, they just know who's here to protect us and who's here to threaten us. You know, kind of like what they said at King of the Monsters. So yeah, we're gonna talk about this villain. So here's something I didn't notice. Here's something I did not notice. If you look, this is something some other people brought up. If you look closely at the Kong, he seems to be wearing some war paint. He apparently is wearing some war paint. No, we're gonna get some Planet of the Apes vibes with this Kong. But so yeah, we're gonna talk about this creature. Look at D-Man's video.
What's up, everybody?
Look at D-Man's video. That's the flying Godzilla creature. This can't be the villain. Because there's been speculation a long time ago that there's some flying Godzilla creature in this film. That's the villain. Some space Godzilla looking creature. If that's the case, why didn't they just go ahead and bring in space Godzilla? But there's some flying there's a flying Godzilla creature out there that was leaked a long time ago. And I think I talked about it on this channel. So this orangutan villain, he can't be the villain. he can't be the villain. He could probably team up with the villain, but the space Godzilla looking creature, he has to be the villain. And also, who is this? This don't look like the orangutan villain or the space Godzilla villain. Maybe I said this in another video, but that's probably Anguirus. But it's clear that they created some new villains that we have never seen before in either the MonsterVerse or the Toho movies. Like if they're gonna give us new villains instead of Toho creatures and Toho villains, then they better be good. Because one thing I am gonna be disappointed at is that if they didn't give us Toho creatures, but instead we get some lame villains that all the Godzilla fandom just makes fun of for the rest of our lives. Like, no, like at that point you might as well just have the Toho creatures, you know? Yeah, everyone's saying Space Godzilla might be in this movie. At this point, I think that they're just gonna give us original Titans we haven't seen before. So yeah, villain. So this Kong villain, he apparently is gonna have, instead of giving the, maybe this is how Kong gets his lightning powers in the MonsterVerse. Maybe their orangutan villain has the lightning powers, and Kong is gonna have to like kill him and like absorb the lightning energy, and then at that point he becomes King Kong. King Kong. They better call him King Kong at this point, because I'm honestly sick and tired of calling him Kong. Like it's his original name. Like just like fine. Have him sit on the throne. Give him a battle axe. Have him team up with Godzilla, the king of the monsters. But at one point, call him fucking King Kong. Like that's his name. Like that's his actual name. Like I'm just sick and tired of calling him Kong. Like, hold on, I'll be right back. Like, just call him King Kong. Call him King Kong. You know what I mean? Just in this movie, this is the perfect chance. All right, fine. You didn't call him King Kong after he took down Mechagodzilla. You didn't call him King Kong after he at least stood a chance against Godzilla. In this movie, if this orangutan villain has lightning powers, and apparently they're even saying that he's gonna have he's gonna have atomic breath like Godzilla. Look at this thumbnail of the orangutan shooting out the atomic breath. Welcome back, if this Kong guy has powers and Kong has to like kill him and absorb those powers, at that point call him King Kong. And apparently the orangutan villain is supposed to have an army of other Kongs. So I feel like Kong is gonna kill the orangutan villain we see in the trailer, and then lead the other Kongs that team up with him, like lead them the right way, like lead them, and then they're gonna then team up to fight the space Godzilla looking creature that was in the leaked photos. He is not the villain. He's not the villain. Like they're gonna team up to fight the like I feel like this orangutan villain is not the villain. The space Godzilla looking creature is the villain. Yeah, in case y'all didn't know, in the leak images, like before they released the trailer, there was a leaked photo of a cave painting on the sets of Godzilla vs Kong, and they showed that the Kongs and the humans and the Godzillas teamed up to fight some winged Godzilla looking creature. And for a while, people thought it was Space Godzilla. For a while, some people thought it was Space Godzilla. Look at this right there. That's the photo. So this guy, this orangutan villain, has to not be the only villain. And plus, I watched some videos where they said that this is not the only villain. Thanks. I watched some videos where they said this is not the only villain, which I sure as hell hope is not, because it'll be a downgrade. Ooh. Especially since we know at this point that Godzillas are just the stronger creatures. No offense, Kong fans, but it's just true at this point. But so, how do I feel? So this is a team-up movie. So, it's the orangutan villain and the Godzilla flying creature gonna like team up? Like, cause that'll be, cause I'm gonna be honest with you. Like, I have mixed feelings. Like, I have some mixed feelings about, like, the orangutan creature and the Godzilla flying creature. Like, I get it. This is not the Toho movies. They want to do their own thing. That's fine by me. If they want to create new villains, that's fine. But why do you have to make them two separate villains? Like, first of all, if these are creatures that both Godzilla and Kong cannot take on their own, and they have to team up to fight two creatures that they cannot take on their own, and they're already more powerful than both of them, then they either just combine the two villains together to have them really be an unstoppable threat, or have Godzilla and Kong team up with some other creatures, because clearly, if both the more powerful creatures team up, that Godzilla and Kong are probably gonna die. Which I know for a fact they're not gonna die in this movie, unless somehow they do. I just noticed something. Are they actually gonna kill off one of the two monsters or both of them? Who knows? Yeah. Frank, let's watch your video.
Well,
Let's watch your video.
Fill them up. It's measurement day.
I don't have time for these ads, man. I'm telling you.
Welcome back, my fellow Titans. We are no longer Team Kong or Team Godzilla. In this epic battle, we have to join forces together and shall be renamed Team Kongzilla.
Hey guys, when the trailers of this movie comes out, no more of that Team Godzilla and Team Kong shit. Now we're gonna be known as Team Kongzilla, since they're both gonna team up this time around. So
That works, right? It's been a few days now since we got our first teaser trailer for the Godzilla vs. Kong sequel titled Godzilla x Kong, The New Empire. I already did a video giving you my first reaction and thoughts to what they revealed, but I have not been able to stop thinking about what they showed to us, what that title means, thinking long and hard about who exactly is the monkey in that chair. Actually, orangutans aren't classified as monkeys. I hope you get atomic blast into the face. So what I want to do here is just talk about the best theories going around online in the monster community about who this villain is. Our ideas how he connects to the past of both Godzilla and King Kong. But really, this was just another excuse for me to talk more about Godzilla and Kong, because who doesn't get excited talking about these two guys? Actually, there's a...
for real, especially since it's been long since the last movie came out. I just been waiting for this one.
Support that Godzilla might actually be female. Alright, so jumping into it here, the biggest conclusion drawn from this is I think we have all come to an agreement that this is most likely a Kong ancestor of the orangutan species. It does seem pretty clear based off the body shape. I mean, I was kind of blown away by how skinny of a waist this orangutan has. You see him move to the side for a bit, you're like, dang. What's his diet like? Then on the close-ups to his face, it looks like he has more orange fur instead of like brown blackish like King Kong. So just taking that into effect that it's mainly going to be inspired by an orangutan species, that gives us a lot to go off of. For one, the arm length in orangutans, not only are they extremely strong creatures, they also just have this giant span. And in a movie where it's big monsters fighting each other, reach is very important. We also assume by the size of his body and...
I just noticed that the reach is important in giant creature films, because like, is the orangutan villain gonna be like slapping Godzilla and Kong a lot in the battles? Like, are they gonna, are they just gonna be like slapping them, like bitch slapping them, like, yeah.
and lankiness, that he'll be able to be a much faster opponent, so he'll both have speed on top of Godzilla and Kong. But the part we really haven't talked about the most is I think this will definitely be the most intelligent Titan that either of them have ever faced. Orangutans are considered to be the most intelligent ape species out there. And with the way the teaser trailer's portraying this villain...
Let me know in the comments, is that true? Are orangutans smarter than gorillas?
As if it's gone through and battled so many
That's
other
a
titans in its time. You have to
challenge
imagine
Kong
all
that's
these
never
bones and
stand
pieces
before.
of different monsters were all taken down by him. Even when zooming in on the face of the villain here, people have noticed the war paint that looks to be colored red. That just screams intelligence. Think about how many other monsters would think to actually put on war paint on their face to kind of go into battle. It's kind of unheard of. That's what I think will be the most intriguing part of this new villain. I think it'll be one of the most human-like villains we have had in Titan form. Like, I'm not going to be surprised at all if this thing is even able to speak. I don't think it's going to be busting out English or anything like that, but we saw that Godzilla was a god.
I don't think they're gonna go full on Planet of the Apes style with this orangutan villain.
To some sort of human civilization, I would not be surprised if there was also another human civilization worshipping this orangutan villain. I mean, even in King Kong's first solo movie, he had tribe members that were also worshipping King Kong, and those people put war paint on their face. I also think this is going to put into perspective a lot of the things that we saw teased in Godzilla vs. Kong.
Is Kong gonna have some war paint as well? I know the Eevee people are wiped out, but like, are they gonna find a way to get Kong ready to go into battle?
Specifically when Kong is going into Hollow Earth, just looking at the color face war paint on the villain, that is the same color war paint that is used on the handprint leading into the throne. That feels like a giant clue that this throne belongs to this villain, and we just don't know exactly where he was during the events of Godzilla vs. Kong. In this same throne room, I mean, you see stairs, you see a chair, you even see a statue in the shape of a Kong-like figure. With the title New Empire, we're believing that this might not be the only giant titan of his kind. He could be leading an army of similar titans. Whether they look like him or what I have seen some fans speculate, it would be cool if it's different species of apes or monkeys.
I really hope though that this movie is just not one thing I am gonna be kind of disappointed in is that this movie is just like a bunch of monkeys around. Like, it's just if this movie just has a bunch of monkeys, because at that point, where were they in Godzilla vs. Kong? Hell, where were they in Kong Skull Island? This is supposed to be a crossover, not a Kong movie. Like, if you're gonna have a Kong movie with a lot of Kongs, just have it be a solo Kong movie at that point. Which is why I'm saying this is not the villain. This may be a villain, but not the main villain. The space Godzilla looking creature has to be the villain.
All led by this orangutan. That would kind of give me vibes of Planet of the Apes, but seeing that kind of group in Titan form going after Godzilla and Kong, that could be pretty awesome. Another thing pointing to...
Yeah, but at the same time, why are they making the Kong seem evil? Aren't they supposed to be innocent and protecting life? That's another thing that's kind of throwing me off. If this Kong has a villain, it has an army of different Kongs, then at that point, what the hell, Legendary? Like, do what you want, but I'm just saying.
Intelligence is, I think we can pretty much bet that this villain is the one that ended up creating the big axe that Kong has in Godzilla vs. Kong. I remember before the movie was released, that's one of the biggest things we were speculating is that scene where King Kong would rip a scale off Godzilla, put it on a bone, tie it together. We're like, man, that's kind of weird. Is Kong intelligent enough to do that? Will that fit?
Which I wanted to happen. I wanted that to be something that Kong did himself. I wanted Kong to, while fighting Godzilla in their first encounter, rip off Godzilla's spine, and then find a little bone, something. Find a bone, like a broken bone, and then like strap them together. Like just create it. Like just create the axe, because that just kind of opened up a plot hole. Where the hell did this axe come from, and why is it just lying down on a Godzilla skeleton?
In the universe, and none of that happened. Kong just stumbled upon it within the throne, picked it up, and said, yeah, this will be my weapon now. But it'll be really cool now in New Empire to see the origin of this axe. Because origin does seem to play a big factor in the movie. It's not just the origin of this axe. We're going to see the origins of Godzilla and King Kong's. The start of their war, and honestly, this villain might be at the center of it. For the longest time,
Like a lot of the shit that they should have done in the last movie, they're gonna do in this movie. Actually show off like the backstory of the war, of the Titan War. They should have shown that in a movie called Godzilla vs. Kong. And on top of that, they should have explained where the axe came from. A lot of the Titan, they're gonna also explore the Titan stuff. They should have done that in the last movie. Because if they were gonna create a Mega Godzilla to end all Titans, they would at least have to know the Titans' abilities while creating this like machine to protect us. This weapon to protect us. They would at least have to know them before just releasing some machine to go out there and get destroyed. For the record. So yeah. Like just this is why Godzilla vs. Kong should have been longer. Because now you're going to have to redo it. Now you're going to have to re-explain the stuff that you should have done in the last movie. But nah. But thanks to fucking critics and these fucking wider audiences, oh, we want to only see monster action. We ended up with a dumb, fun, silly, entertaining movie. The battle of the century, everyone.
Thought Godzilla's and King Kong's were always fun.
I really hope this one's better. I'm not gonna lie to you. I really hope this one was better. It's better. And then based off the trailer, they might take this one a little more serious this time, which they better fucking do.
Fighting with one another. What if they were actually always friendly and peaceful?
USAA.
You were in the military?
No, my grandpa was. He passed membership to then me.
Huh, yeah. If your
Shit.
spouse, parent, or grandparent served, they could pass it to you.
Like seriously, legendary. Just like this movie better be taken a lot more serious. I swear to God. Will be the darkest shit. It has to be. It has to be. So yeah, to those that wanted Mecha King Ghidorah, Space Godzilla, or Destroyer, unfortunately, I guess we're gonna have to wait until the movie after this one. Apparently this is not the final MonsterVerse movie, which thank God it isn't. There's gonna be like one more movie, and that's the movie where we have to get Destroyer or Space Godzilla or Titan or Gigan, because if I'm being honest with you, they could have done all that with this movie, but no. Thanks to them rushing the hell out. Thanks to them Thanks to them rushing Godzilla vs. Kong. Now in this one, we're gonna have some orangutan villain and some winged Godzilla creature. Thanks to them rushing the hell out of Godzilla vs. Kong. Ugh, I swear to God. This is exactly why y'all shouldn't have legendary. This is exactly why y'all shouldn't have listened to those damn critics.
The synopsis for the upcoming MonsterVerse movie states Godzilla and Kong are set to take on a new threat. One that is so dangerous that apparently the entire Titan and human way of life on Earth is at stake. Godzilla
Despite the fact that y'all already had a Titan that will put the human life, but will put the Titan war and the Titans and the humans at stake, and y'all fucking killed them off. Remember, King Ghidorah could have been your Thanos, but y'all fucking killed them off.
vs. Kong was originally intended to have a scene that would have greatly added to the lore of this universe. This scene was going to show and go in detail on the infamous cave paint art that we have all seen from the Godzilla vs. Kong art book. The one that depicts a winged Goji not only attacking a group of Kongs, but also apparently the other Goji individuals as well. Now, we have all seen this image beaten to death with countless theories and ideas as to how it could fit into the MonsterVerse lore. And we're gonna do it again. After reading over the plot many times for this upcoming...
Swear to God, the space Godzilla looking creature. Seriously, who is this god? I know this is not Space Godzilla because I don't know if they have the rights to Space Godzilla. But I'm just saying. Also, we already talked about the Kong creature. He could have lightning powers. He could lead an army of Kongs. He could even have his own Godzilla atomic breath, since apparently some people are saying this is like a mixture of the two creatures. But
some mornings call for a breakfast taco from Dunkin'. Scrambled eggs, cheddar cheese, fire roasted corn, and lime crema to get you going. Bacon. But some mornings call for 2 breakfast tacos. Oh yeah, this is definitely going to be a 2 taco morning.
This is Jupiter.
I'm mistreated in my cheeks right here.
Welcome back, my fellow Titans.
no. I already seen the beginning of this video.
Plots in the MonsterVerse, they have been desperate.
Like, some people even said that this villain was like a mixture.
Always friendly and peaceful, living amongst each other just fine. That maybe a lot of those cave drawings are not them fighting one another, but fighting together against this bigger threat all those years ago. That would also explain why we have the Godzilla and King Kong skull in the teaser. Their ancestors have fought in battle going up against this individual. I think back to that one scene in Godzilla vs. Kong where after Kong picks up the axe, you kind of see on the floor this light up space. And it's actually a bunch of those battle axes forming the Godzilla spine. Going back to this title being New Empire, it would be crazy if we find out there was an army of Kongs wielding these axes side by side with Godzillas who allowed them to take a scale off their back so that they can fight this bigger threat together. I guess on that subject, people are very excited to find...
That would explain why there was like Godzilla charging station in Kong's throne.
Find out what kind of atomic abilities this villain will have. With the eyes glowing in the teaser, there's definitely going to be some sort of projectile that this villain is going to...
Is that good? So, I think that is... I don't know if that's atomic energy. I thought that was lightning powers, like they show here. Some people are... Seriously, what powers... I really do like the speculation of this movie, though. That's what I like. Does this Kong guy have electricity powers? That's why is his eyes glowing? Does he have electricity powers, or does he have atomic energy? Like, let me know.
be able to create, whether it's electricity powers or what I'm hoping for is that atomic breath shooting out. The most common thing...
Or maybe even it's both. and this creature is a mixture of Godzilla and Kong, like a Kongzilla type of villain. For real, what happens if this movie is if the villain of this? Let me know. Let me find out that the villain of this movie is Kongzilla. Like, yeah.
Fans are agreeing with now about the title is that the X essentially stands for collaboration. A lot of times you'll see this with like brands and companies, and in this movie it's definitely a collaboration of the two. It is Godzilla and Kong working together to fight this bigger threat. But then people have also wondered the X could stand for a hybrid, and that does push me towards this villain having Godzilla-like abilities, although being shaped almost like a Kong. In a lot of the human subplots in the MonsterVerse, they have been desperately trying to figure out how to steal Godzilla's atomic powers, and that's even been a motivating factor for going to Hollow Earth, is to get closer to that atomic energy down there. It could be very likely that at one point this was just a regular old random Titan that stumbled upon this atomic energy and was just able to harness it for himself. The final thing I'll say here is, look, I don't think this will be the last Godzilla and Kong team-up movie. I feel like they're going to want to round it out and make it a trilogy here. So we already had Godzilla vs. Kong. We're about to have Godzilla X Kong.
And the next movie has to be Destroy All Monsters. I'm just saying that right now. The next movie has to be... Let's just say this movie isn't the final one, which I think it's not. The next movie has to be Destroy All Monsters. Because at that point, like, these movies take years to make. I feel like the next one will release in, like, 2029 or 2028. Like, these movies take years to make. So, the next movie will have to release in 2027 or 2029 or 2030 even. That's the movie you need to have Gamera, Ultraman, all the Toho creatures, and the new villains at the same time. And actually have the villain of the next movie be a Toho villain. Because, yes, that's fine. It's fine by me if you want to have a new creature. That's fine by me. In fact, they need to explain some of this shit next to the last movie, kind of fucking up shit. Kind of fucking up sometimes. But it will even out. Like, we have 6 movies in the MonsterVerse at this point. We have three movies that have original villains, and then on top of that, we have 3 movies that have Toho villains, like Godzilla 2014, Kong Skull Island, and this new Godzilla X Kong New Empire movie. All have original villain titans. All have original villains. The Mutos, Skullcrawlers, and the orangutan villain, and the Space Godzilla, flying Godzilla looking creature. Whereas the Toho villains for the 3 MonsterVerse movies, King of the Monsters had King Ghidorah, Godzilla vs. Kong had Mechagodzilla, and Destroyer Monsters, the next movie after this one, might probably have Gigan or Destroyer or Space Godzilla. If you make another one after this, have the villain be the Toho, have the villain be a Toho creature, because at that point you at least address some of the shit that they should have done in the last Godzilla vs. Kong movie.
They're gonna do one more movie, and I know there's a lot of fans disappointed this villain didn't turn out to be Biollante, Space Godzilla, Destroyer.
Yeah, especially for a movie called The New Empire. Like, for a movie called The New Empire, you would think Godzilla and Kong would have like, for one, of course they're gonna team up, but they were gonna team up with other villains. The humans would kind of create more mechs to be good this time around, to help them. Hell, what if they, like, what happens if Mecha King, they tease Ghidorah a lot in the MonsterVerse. What happens if Mecha King Ghidorah was the big ultimate, instead of Destroyer? What happens if Mecha King Ghidorah was the ultimate big bad guy threat? What happens? Because a lot of people said Destroyer. I think Destroyer would be it too, but logically, going by the MonsterVerse, Mecha King Ghidorah will be the next step if the villains, on the villain side. And if they want to have a hidden underground, like a hidden Hollow Earth villain that they've never discovered before, instead of this orangutan creature or the Space Godzilla flying Godzilla, have it be Gigan. You know, have it be Toho villains, but fit into the of the lore of the MonsterVerse. You know, and Destroyer also because the Oxygen Destroyer in King of the Monsters. There you go. Three Toho villains in the MonsterVerse with proper explanations, proper reasons why they're there. Mecha King Ghidorah because King Ghidorah and Mecha Godzilla, they can both like combine their villains, like use their cells, use their body parts, use Mecha Godzilla's mechanics, bring Ghidorah back to life, and wrap up with the mechas, with the mechs. Gigan being the Hollow Earth. Some people thought that it was the villain of this movie was gonna be Gigan, and at one point I thought I kind of wanted it to be Gigan. Before we find out it's an orangutan creature. Hell, in fact, they could have had Gigan be the one with the glowing eyes and the lightning powers, with the chainsaws and the hooks and the mechanics as well. They could have had Gigan be that villain. Mecha King Ghidorah, Gigan be the Hollow Earth Dread, and have, and plus Gigan has martial arts. So he would have been a perfect threat to Kong with the axe. So Gigan would have been the perfect threat of this movie. Destroyer, we all know why Destroyer would be in the MonsterVerse. The Oxygen Destroyer. This could have been the perfect movie. The Space Godzilla looking creature, that could have been King Ghidorah instead of that winged Godzilla. You could have had, like, really show off King Ghidorah as a threat. Like, have the cave painting, instead of that Space Godzilla looking creature, or winged Godzilla, have it be King Ghidorah or Gigan. You know, really hype up the MonsterVerse. But you guys just had to create a new villain. Which I understand since it's the MonsterVerse, but it's like, did you really have to? You know, they could have easily replaced this orangutan villain with another Toho creature, and everything would have been more exciting. Like, Gigan could have been this Hollow Earth Dread. Like, but okay, if that's what they want to do, then I'm just gonna have to deal with it. Like, I really am a Toho. I really am a Godzilla fan, so.
And I feel like they're not going to end the series without doing something like that with a classic Titan villain coming in for the final showdown. It's just
exactly, like, really have the final battle of the MonsterVerse. Have all the creatures we see in the MonsterVerse, have all their stories, have their arcs, lead up to them fighting this big ultimate threat, Destroyer or Mecha King Ghidorah or Space Godzilla. Really have one of them, one of the three. Space Godzilla, Mecha King Ghidorah, or Destroyer. One of the three. Have one of them, or all three of them, if you can do it. Have them be the big ultimate threat of the final battle. Like a Thanos type of situation. Destroy our monsters. The final battle. Really just show off the threat.
has to kind of be built up. And so to get to that point where we have both Godzilla and Kong in a place where they can go after a much larger threat, a much more powerful threat, I think King Kong is going to need a power-up himself. And
yes. If you're not going to have a Toho villain in this movie, that's fine. Have them build up Kong to like really have him stand a chance. Because let's be real here. Kong with the battle axe is not enough. Like I keep saying, it's not enough.
I feel like what will happen at the end of this movie is the same way that this villain was able to harness the atomic energy within Hollow Earth, Kong is going to be able to steal that for himself.
Nah, I don't think it's atomic energy. I feel like if it is atomic energy, then that would be something that Godzilla would have to harness. I feel like what would happen is that after they kill this creature, this orangutan creature, Godzilla is gonna harness the atomic energy to make its atomic breath a lot more powerful than it already is. Then if this Kong guy has electricity powers, have that be something that Kong harness. Hell, I just thought of something. Imagine if Kong has lightning powers in the monsterverse. He would straight up just be Thor at this point. Like Kong would really just be Thor at this point. Plus, he will have to have a lot of armor as well. Yeah, Kong is at this point. He just gonna be Thor. Kong will just be Thor at this point, which I fucking would want. Not the main threat. He has to be. He has to not. He isn't the threat. I feel like after they killed the Kong creature and harness their powers, and make themselves a lot more powerful, they're gonna go in to fight the Godzilla creature in the final battle. That's what I think is gonna happen. That's what I think. That's what I want to happen, based on what we heard. So Emperor Kong and Zosa Halawa. In case y'all don't know, some of y'all are like, what the hell is Zosa Halawa? What is this guy talking about? Zosa Halawa is the name of the Godzilla wing, based off the Godzilla vs. Kong novelization. Zosa Halawa is the name of the Godzilla flying creature that was leaked. So after Godzilla and Kong kill Emperor Kong and absorb the powers to make themselves powerful, they're gonna go in to fight. Zosa Halawa and kill him. It didn't have the post credits of this movie actually fucking tease Destroyer or make it King Ghidorah. You know? Like the next movie, Destroy All Monsters. That's what they have to call the next movie. Destroy All Monsters. Have the fucking threat be make it King Ghidorah or Destroy it. I'm just saying that right now, Legendary. This movie's gonna make... We already know this movie's gonna make money anyway. Let's be real here. Like, we already know this movie's gonna make money. Because people enjoyed the last movie, Godzilla vs. Kong. And plus, really, like the MonsterVerse is like one of the only cinematic universes going on right now that's actually still good and that's actually still have passion and care. And plus, everyone enjoyed the last movie, so it makes sense for them to get hyped. Unless this movie ends up being disappointing for some whatever reason. Unless we ended up not liking this movie for whatever reason, and then the next movie is probably not going to make money at all. Let's just say we don't like this movie, but it still makes money, and we don't get hyped for the next one.
Finally, after months of
like that's Biomancy Gigan or Destroy It. They could have made Gigan the villain of this movie. He would have been a perfect. In fact, hold on.
People love this.
Another villain.
Right, this one looks like it's giving me the thumbs up.
Finally, after months of wondering what the heck.
In fact, hold on. Go to the end where he talks about Gigan. This was the perfect chance.
DNA creating this.
No. It's not Biomancy. It's Gigan.
Interested in a human subplot in a Godzilla. Did with Godzilla vs. Kong. So I think he'll be the one doing a lot of the punching and fighting, and you want to give Kong someone that can fight back, that isn't just throwing out vines or spewing out spores. So that's another thing kind of stopping me there with Biollante. So getting to the one I kind of am willing to put money on and say, hey, this is probably it. Gigan. Now, I know what you're thinking. Right away, you're saying, Chris, this is one of the monsters from space, though. Gigan is one of these prehistoric creatures that has alien tech and was thrown onto Earth. I believe there's even parts of the story involved where the aliens that created Gigan come to Earth and are disguised as humans, which that would be a cool little twist to throw in there. It would make me interested in a human subplot in a Godzilla vs. Kong movie.
There are aliens.
Just lends himself.
There are aliens in this movie. Just to let y'all know, in case y'all don't remember, there's supposed to be aliens in this movie. So, I'm just saying, I'm just saying.
So perfectly to be attached to this universe because it's kind of the best of both worlds. It's a monster, but it's also a machine. So it wouldn't really be exactly like another Mechagodzilla copycat for general audiences who can't tell the difference. And on the whole alien aspect, they say here it's something that has been within our world and that is linked to the ancestral past of these two. Gigan could have been a monster that landed on Hollow Earth long ago, maybe.
I just noticed something. They needed a villain like the Hollow Earth and the Cerberus world. Like, what happens if we had a Cerberus, like a villain in the Hollow Earth for Kong to face, while having a villain in the Cerberus world for Godzilla to face? Like, I just noticed that. Like, they're gonna have. Like, that could have been something they done with the Toho villains, but maybe that's why we have the orangutan creature and the Space Godzilla looking villain. And the flying creature. I keep saying Space Godzilla looking villain. I just want to solidify the fact that this is not Space Godzilla. Space Godzilla is not in this movie. But the reason why a lot of people say it's Space Godzilla because it's a Godzilla that can fly and he ate a star for whatever reason. Zozal Hollow. Emperor Kong is Zozal Hollow. I'm gonna keep saying that. Zozal Hollow.
Met up with these two, fought them, lost, was in a cocoon state, and now with humans rummaging around Hollow Earth, they accidentally awaken it. Not just awakening it, but maybe even call the alien species that sent them there in the first place. I also really like Gigan's design. I know there's been some concept art of them trying to use him in the Monsterverse as a little background.
Look, remember this? Remember this? Gigan, remember this, guys? This is from the Monsterverse. This isn't even Toho. They got his design on point. He could have been the threat. He could have been the fucking... Hell, Michael Dougherty even wanted Gigan in the Monsterverse at one point. This could have been the perfect movie. But yes, I get it. You want to make new creatures. That's fine. But have Gigan be replace the Zozal Hollow creature in the kit. Like how about this? You want to make new creatures. You want to make a new Kong. Like have the Kongs be the good people. How about I just died something. How about this? Have Gigan be the threat, but the orangutan creature and the army that the Kong is supposed to be leading, have them hide from Gigan. You know what I mean? Have them run away from Gigan. Have them make a smart decision to hide from Gigan. Gigan could be the villain of this movie, for Christ's sake. Have the Kongs we see in the trailer be the Kongs that fought with the Godzillas to take on Gigan in the cave painting. Yes, I will replace Zozal Hollow with Gigan. And how about this? Have them even connect to King Ghidorah. Since in the old movies, Gigan and King Ghidorah teamed up. How about have Gigan be King Ghidorah's right-hand villain? How about, and since King Ghidorah was in the Monsterverse, he had the whole Titan Awakening, and he even took over Mechagodzilla. Have Gigan's motivation be he wants to, thanks to them, almost fell down. Thanks to them roaming, now exploring the Hollow Earth, have Gigan be the ultimate threat. Have Gigan's motivation is being that he wants to get back for get revenge for King Ghidorah. They killed my partner, so now I'm gonna kill y'all. Even though y'all came to our planet to kill us, so it makes sense we defend ourselves. So, yeah, have Gigan's motivation to be revenge for King Ghidorah. You know what I mean? And have the aliens kind of team up with him and kind of make Gigan aware that King Ghidorah is dead, that they killed King Ghidorah, and that would make Gigan really, really pissed off and want to go after the whole world. And the Kongs that hit, thanks to Kong, have Kong meet the other Kongs in the Hollow Earth, then have them, and have the Kongs explain to Kong that they were hiding from this threat, which Kong realizes it's Gigan that they were hiding from. Then have Gigan fight Kong, and of course Gigan will win. And then have Kong team up with the other Kongs, and then have him go up to chase Gigan, since they know that they have to save the world. Have him team up with Godzilla, and then have Godzilla like do an alpha call to wake up all the Titans around the world to fight Gigan and the aliens. You know, if you really want to go there, have them even be a Mecha King Ghidorah in this movie. Like, have him be a Mecha King Ghidorah to really have Gigan's motivation paid off, and plus, I really wanted to have that that King Ghidorah and Gigan team up for whatever reason. Like, if you really want to, you didn't have to kill off King Ghidorah. You could have him brought back to this movie, have him team up with Gigan. So no, have the ancient battle be in modern day. See how involved humanity has really gotten. Now, if you wanted to, you could have Mecha King Ghidorah and Gigan team up. But sad we're not getting that in this movie. We're not getting that.
Easter egg, but they refused that, which makes me think they might have bigger plans to use them full frontal as a villain.
Such a shame we're not getting that in this movie. We're not getting that. We're not getting that. Like, have the aliens create Mecha King Ghidorah after Mecha Godzilla and King Ghidorah, they, like, really combine the two. Like, take parts from Mecha King Ghidorah not Mecha King Ghidorah. Take parts from Mecha Godzilla after Kong destroyed them, and have Mecha King Ghidorah really be this threat. And then have the post credits of this movie tease Destroyer for the next movie. But such a shame we're not getting Gigan or Mecha King Ghidorah in this movie, even though they could have been the perfect chance, but we're not getting it because this movie is apparently going to be delving into the backstories of the monsters, even though they could have done that in the last movie, and they want to make new creatures, which again, it's perfectly fine by me. That's what the MonsterVerse is unique for. You know, like have the MonsterVerse really have Toho creatures and new creatures at the same time, because I feel like that's what's kind of throwing me off. I'm okay with new creatures, but I'm also really love the fact that they also have Toho creatures to like give something for the the Toho fans to investigate, since the MonsterVerse is really the only Godzilla franchise that's modern right now, besides Shin Godzilla and the Godzilla Earth trilogy and the Godzilla movie that's supposed to be coming out this year. Like, really, the MonsterVerse has been like the main new Godzilla franchise, the new modern Godzilla franchise. Like, give something for the old fans and the new fans as well. Like, I feel like that's the spirit of the MonsterVerse. Toho creatures while new villains at the same time. Like, have Gigan. Like, have the creatures you have, but like just make the no. Everything I said before, what I just said. Gigan be the villain that they team up in the past to fight the Kong to run away from Gigan, and Mecha King Ghidorah. Like, have new creatures, but also have Toho creatures as well. Because if you take away the new creatures, then it's pretty much just the Toho movies, but modern cinema, and we already have a Toho universe where they could do all that with. We already have the Japanese modern Godzilla movies that they could do all that with. What's the point of the MonsterVerse then? So have new creatures, but if you take away the old school creatures, then what is this? Like, what the hell is this? Like, what's the point of some people getting hyped anymore? Because I feel like the Toho creatures is what's getting some people hyped about the MonsterVerse. You know, like, just deliver both aspects. Toho creatures and new villains. You know? And I really hope the music delivers as well. like old school villains but new school villains at the same time. Old school villains but new villains at the same time. Anyway, guys, that's all I gotta say. The villains of this movie, bro, when we see that trailer, the villains of the movies better be good. Cause let me tell you something. If we're not gonna have Toho creatures in this movie, and we get new villains that disappoint, then I'm gonna have some problems. Who are they fighting? The Kong villain and the Godzilla wing villain. Anyway, that's all I gotta say right now. So that's my video on the villain. So talk to y'all later, Goji fans. I'm out this bitch. Bye.